Get your arms up and burp. Let's burp you.
Nothing.
Welcome back to Film Brew, an in-depth conversation about our favorite Hollywood movies and TV shows. My name is Kevin Lyons.
I am Daniel de Sangre, and we are Too High Mcfly.
You've been drinking all day.
We have been drinking.
Spider-Man Homecoming has finally come out, and this is a big movie for us because this is the first solo movie of Spider-Man since he's entered the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And everybody was a little skeptical because it's Sony and Marvel together, but the trailers look really good, and we got the opportunity to go watch Spider-Man twice for me this weekend. Dan, how many times did you see it?
Just one so far.
What are your overall thoughts on the movie?
Well, when Spider-Man was first coming out, I was a little nervous about it because we've just seen two different versions of it in the last like 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I wasn't really dying for another Spider-Man movie, but they didn't, especially with the Amazing Spider-Man, they didn't quite get it right. So
No.
with this one, you know, especially with the sneak preview we got of him in Avengers, it looked pretty interesting.
Civil War.
Man. Or Civil War, yeah.
Yeah, he was really awesome in Civil War.
Yeah.
When he like came swinging in, he's like, "Hey everybody!" It was like the Marty McFly of the MCU, man. It was like kind of cool. After watching Homecoming, did you like the movie or not?
I did like the movie. I didn't quite love it as much as I hoped for.
The first time I saw it, I liked it, but there was something about it I couldn't tell if I like really liked it. And then I saw it again, and some of the problems I had the first time watching it didn't bother me anymore. So I really like this movie. There's a lot in this movie that I really fucking loved.
I agree.
Yes.
So let's definitely dive into that. So tell me a little bit about what you loved about this.
The thing that I really loved about this movie was how grounded Spider-Man was. Like, he wasn't fighting big, huge bad guys. I mean, he was a teenage kid. And he's learning to become Spider-Man, and like without having the origin attached to it, you know what I mean? Like He's already Spider-Man, but he's just getting like purse snatchers, and he's just trying to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You see all the mistakes that he makes, and all that shit. That's what I really loved about this movie.
And even when he gets it wrong, like he shoots that guy with the car, and is like, "Hey, that's my car."
Yeah. All those mistakes.
Yeah.
But like, why are you breaking into your own car? But
and
it's
he's
so
eating
funny.
a churro, like he gets a free churro paid for him. Like that was pretty funny.
The comedy in the movie was a lot of fun.
It definitely was, and you know there was a lot that I liked about it. I just think there was some of it that was left, you know, to be desired. Like I felt like they could have fleshed out some things a little more.
They definitely could have. It felt like they didn't develop it 100%. Especially with all the things in the high school.
Yeah.
Everything else was okay, but all the stuff that was going on in the high school, his main story in the high school, didn't really. It felt like it could have been a little bit more juicier, but I liked all the stuff that was in there.
I did too, and the fact that like Spider-Man Homecoming, like that's really interesting to me that we're tackling high school Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They haven't really explored that, so I was very interested in it. It's called Homecoming, so we know it has to center around the homecoming dance, only it really doesn't. It's like you see it for like a minute or two, he cuts out, and it's like, well, what was the point of the homecoming then? It didn't really mean anything. I mean, other than maybe symbolically, but like, come on, I wanted to see a little bit revolved around the dance.
Yeah, that I wish the climax at the dance was a little bit bigger, and I wish there was more involved in that. That should have been a bigger spectacle. But we're talking about likes right now. We're gonna talk about likes.
Yeah.
So another thing that I really liked was the whole dynamic of him and his best friend, and his best friend Ned found out that he was Spider-Man like really early in the film.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Man, come on, let me just be your guy in the chair, and let me help out with all the computer screens, and I'll tell you where to go." Like that, I fucking love that. And I love that Spider-Man has a friend to confide in with all this stuff, because Spider-Man is us. He is the audience. All the other superheroes, they're all like godlike, or they're like rich billionaires. It's like you don't relate to that. Spider-Man is us, and that's what we would do. You would tell your best friend that if you were Spider-Man, and like he would help you out and ask you all these fun questions, and so their dynamic between each other was like, it was so awesome.
It really was, and what I liked too was a shout out to the Ferris Bueller movie.
Yeah.
Like I love that they did that. I wish they did more of that. I really wanted them to have like a high school movie, like a high school movie with the superhero element to it. You know, that would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know why I felt like it wasn't able to accommodate more of that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot, and this movie was like 2 hours and 14 minutes long.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see why they couldn't incorporate more focus on the high school aspect.
I don't know, and that kind of bleeds a little bit to my dislike because like I liked Iron Man in it, right?
Yeah.
I liked him in it.
Yeah,
I just felt like there was a lot of time dedicated to Iron Man, somebody that we've seen established already for what 6-7 movies that he's been in. Spider-Man, he's fresh, he's new. The other side characters are all brand new to us. I wanted to see more of that. I want to see more of the rivalry between Peter Parker and Flash. Like
there was something missing from that.
Yes.
There was something missing from that. Because if you're gonna have an ongoing joke in a movie, it has to come in like threes.
Yes.
And so it was always Flash making fun of Peter.
Yes.
Like, oh, you know Spider-Man? Oh, he
Yeah.
was making fun of that. And then finally, this was the moment where Spider-Man comes in, and he could have said something about Peter Parker to him when he hijacked his car, but he didn't. It was a totally missed opportunity.
Yeah.
He should have been like, oh, and by the way, leave Peter Parker alone. You know what I mean? Like any of that shit would have been cool. But it's just like that was a missed opportunity. So another thing that I really loved about this movie was the villain, Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Oh my God, what a scary fucking dude he was, but how relatable he was. Like, he was a regular construction worker that got fired from the city because they wanted to do the cleanup of all the superhero battles. Yeah. And so there's a lot of bullshit. He's like, wait a second, they destroy the city and then they get paid to clean it up? Like, that's ridiculous. I just spent all this money on all this construction equipment. I have a contract with this. And they're like, no, like, that's fucked up and that sucks. I mean, like, you relate to that.
Yeah, and just like in good writing, with writing good villains, the villains in their own point of view are the heroes, right? They're their own protagonists in their own story. They don't know they're the antagonists. So with this one, it was well written, but it was perfectly acted by Michael Keaton.
Oh man, he was just like he played it so evil, but still like likable. You know what I mean? Like, you want him to be good, but just like he plays that, he has that evil when he gets pissed off and he feels like you get scared of Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like
Yeah.
I was just waiting for him in that car scene.
I know.
But I really liked how, also spoilers, how the twist was that he was the dad of the girl that he had a crush on in high school. Yeah, that was cool.
It was cool, and yeah, I don't want to get more into dislikes, but no, that was super cool, and just the whole tense scene that they had, I was like, that's good build up. Like they kind of stepped away from your typical MCU movie, and they had a good dramatic, thrilling scene between Peter Parker and the dad in the car. Like,
Absolutely.
It was really good.
And they both played that really well.
Yeah, they did.
Peter Parker played like being nervous, like it's the homecoming dance, but he's really nervous because he just found out that her dad's the villain, and so he was like, he played that so brilliantly. It was
That's
like
why
really
I wish
cool.
they would have played that out more. Like, let's see more at the homecoming. Something he should have been doing something at the homecoming.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead, it was just Ned in the computer chair and he gets caught by the teacher.
That was cool. That was fucking
that was
awesome.
That was.
When he was the man in the chair, like that was like so cool.
And he did, and he's like watching porn.
Yeah, watching porn.
So he took it in the chin.
The teacher walks in on him.
Yeah.
There's a dance going on. What are you doing? Watching porn?
Yeah.
Definitely not helping Spider-Man.
Not at all. And there was like a bunch of computers, so he easily could have been having
Yeah.
porn playing during that time.
Now we're getting to the dreaded part, where we talk about the things that we did not like about the movies. So Dan, why don't you go tell us what you didn't
So
like?
already my spider sense is tingling a little bit with these dislikes. Starting off with, he had no spider sense.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Come on, man. And like one thing that bothered me, which I don't think it bothered you, was he had, in my opinion, he had way too many gadgets for the Spider-Man suit. Like the whole, Jennifer Connelly doing the voice to him, like the robotic voice. I didn't mind that as much. It was the little, the spider drone thing. I was just like, come on, man. He doesn't need that. That's what they call the Spidey sense.
Yeah.
That's what that should have been picking up.
I actually liked the drone spider. I thought that was kind of cool. I love the web stuff.
That
I
was
love
cool,
some
but
of the
that's
stuff.
actually based off the comic books. Though,
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
actually has that design.
I know.
Yeah, so that one was cool. That's fine. The
But-
voice, that's fine. And he had the different type of webbing. I thought that was pretty cool. It was just the drone one was like, okay, that's not Spider-Man at all. That's the one where it's like, I don't see that.
What can you do? That was probably Sony's fault.
Yeah.
Sony probably asked for a spider drone.
He probably hacked the script again.
All right, so what else didn't you like about Spider-Man: Homecoming?
I felt like, no, it really felt like 6 different writers wrote this. And what I mean by that is there's some parts where it felt like different movies. Like it seemed like an earlier version really focused on high school. And later, then they started adding more Iron Man and they started adding more Avengers, and maybe Tony Stark plane is the one that's getting hijacked, and it seemed like it kind of got away from just Peter Parker and Ned and just Peter Parker trying to get Liz.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like rushed, and with Liz, she didn't really feel fleshed out. It just seemed like all of a sudden they like each other. Oh, I guess she has a crush. Now all of a sudden they're like the it couple or something.
That was something I didn't like.
Yeah.
I liked that it was in high school, and I liked the
it.
characters that they set up, but everything felt so forced and convenient. Like they were all the people in high school were all the different stereotypes of like the high school, like the nerdy
Breakfast
one,
Club.
Breakfast Club characters. But yet they were all friends on the debate team. Like that was the
Very convenient.
It set it up like Peter Parker never really talks to Liz.
Yeah.
Like that's how you introduce her. It's like, oh, there's the girl that I like, and then all of a sudden the next scene she's like talking to him in debate class. Like they talk
it's like, so
regularly.
they do know
I'm
each
like,
other.
Oh, come on, man. Where's the get? Like, it's just.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, and with the pacing, pacing had a lot to do
it
with
did.
some of my dislikes. Even the opening, I love how they opened up on Michael Keaton and they showed how he was going to become the villain. But I felt like they stayed on that too long.
Yeah.
Like once they got back to the warehouse and they realized, hey, listen, let's make these into weapons and sell them. And he's just like, yeah, things. I forget what line he says. Like, it's gonna be a new time for us, boys. And then it should have gone to the Marvel credits. Instead, they added on another scene. It was like 8 years later, and you see right back to the villain. It just that felt weird.
Yeah.
And then going into introducing us to Peter Parker for the movie, a lot of that stuff was cool with like the phone, but it was just like all that stuff went on too long. It felt like the whole opening of the movie was just, I like it, but it was just paced really weird.
A big like was Vulture's wings, man. Like,
yeah, that was cool.
I grew up a huge Spider-Man fan. Like he was my favorite superhero growing up when I was a kid. So I used to watch I used to read the comic books, used to watch the cartoons. Vulture was always one of the lamest characters. Like he wasn't that good. In this movie, he was great, man.
Yeah,
like I
he
loved him in this.
He was really good. Michael Keaton was good.
Yeah,
as
Shocker was underused. I thought it was kind of cheap. It was like, whatever. Like, I get it, but like in my head, if I would have written it, Shocker would have been a better character. They did tease up Scorpion though.
Yep.
That's cool. Like, I'm pretty excited about that. But
one more thing that I didn't like. Was that
there's a few things.
Yeah, I kind of. We're getting to the end of the things I didn't like.
Yeah.
Was that there was no glorious like Spider-Man swinging through the city shots, like those really cool. I mean, there was
like
really
Tobey
quick
Maguire.
ones. A little bit. I mean, like I do love those about all the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah,
Whenever
I do
he
too.
was just flying through the city, like I love that. We didn't get that in this, but also he's just learning to become Spider-Man.
Yes.
So
What I will give this movie is that they probably had the best action of any Spider-Man movie previously.
Yeah.
I just felt like the big emotional scenes, I've seen it better in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man's. Like he got the better emotion, and I just think because they had more characters, they had more time to flesh out the characters. I felt like with this one, there was a lot going on.
There was, but I like the amount that like Tony Stark and Happy Hogan and stuff were in it. I like that. I felt like the movie needed that to also help connect it to the MCU because he wants to be an Avenger, and these are like almost like his trials. But a lot of people are complaining about how much he was in the movie. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like he was in like the perfect amount.
Yeah, no, he was. Definitely. I just think it takes away a little bit of what Uncle Ben's character was because, obviously as we know, Uncle Ben was his huge mentor, and he would always rely on what Uncle Ben said, right? With great power comes great responsibility. I'm fine that they never showed Uncle Ben. That's cool to me. The problem though that I see is, by adding Iron Man, he's now grabbing onto the words of Tony Stark and not once even mentioned anything that Uncle Ben said. Like he never even mentioned him.
That's right. I hope they
like
dive into that in the sequel. I hope there's a little bit more of like Uncle Ben in Spider-Man's choices.
Yeah, because that's a huge part of his character, and it's like, anybody that's a huge Spider-Man fan loves Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
And not the rice.
Let's talk about the new Spider-Man suit. It is a little bit high-teched up because Tony Stark did build the suit. So let's go into that a little bit. Overall, did you like the new Spider-Man suit?
I guess it had a very millennial feel to it.
Yeah.
Very tech grabby.
Yeah.
It looked cool. I didn't mind it. The only thing I just didn't like was the drone. That's it. Everything else, I was fine with it.
It's kind of funny because what I didn't like was that he has an AI. that he constantly talks to and helps him out with the missions. I like the AI, except for that he calls her Karen. Like, it's just so, like, what a dumb...
It just didn't make us...
What the fuck are you calling a Karen? It's like an ex-girlfriend from high school.
Have a reference. Call us something.
Anything else.
You know what would have been interesting is if the AI was a man's voice and if it would have been Ben. He calls it Ben.
That could have been cool.
That's pretty cool,
That
right?
could have been cool. But with the AI, like, I think it's cool that it's there for, like, tutorial purposes to show it, to guide him through the functions of the suit. But... it should have been Ned, the guy on the chair, talking to him the whole time. I love that. I'm like, that's what that's who his conversations in the suit should be with Ned. It shouldn't be with Karen.
I felt like they really underutilized Donald Glover.
I felt like they shouldn't have even had him in it.
No, and I
mean, like, his character, but it felt like they turned it up to 11 when all they needed was like a 5.
Well, it just didn't make any sense. It's like, okay, so you have him, and then after the movie, it's like, okay, I guess he's the setup for the whole Miles Morales character.
Yeah,
but
he's supposed to be his uncle, but
it just didn't read. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
I mean, he was good in it.
Yeah,
I liked his character. Like, I liked what he did and like
the
the purpose that he served. But it was just like they made it feel like he was going to be a bigger part of this movie, and he wasn't. He was in 2 scenes, and like that was it. But hey, he did help Spider-Man.
He did help Spider-Man. He gave him some info.
Fucking Lando.
Lando.
But seeing how we're talking about the new Spider-Man suit, what do you think at the end of the movie when Tony Stark was officially inviting him to become part of the Avengers?
It kind of looked
they showed us the Iron Spider-Man suit.
It did, and it kind of looked like what is it, Spider-Man 2025 or whatever?
I don't know, man. It looked crazy.
Yeah.
It looked like it would be cool for like one fight scene, but I don't want to see Spider-Man wearing that.
But I wanted to see him with the Avengers.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
I want to see
know
more
what we
of
are
that.
in Avengers Infinity War. We're gonna get him in there.
I want to see it.
All the bad parts in this movie were Sony decisions.
Exactly.
And all the good parts were Marvel decisions.
Yes. Marvel, we love you.
Final thoughts. I remember something else I want to talk about. And by far, one of my favorite parts in the whole goddamn movie. And it's something I've always wondered about Spider-Man. I always thought it'd be cool to be Spider-Man, like you're just swinging through the buildings and you're just having a grand old time. But what happens when you get to a part of a city that there's no buildings to fucking swing on?
And he eats it.
And no, it's like when he got into the suburban neighborhood, Spider-Man goes to a party to go impress Liz and invite Spider-Man in there. But then, like, when he sees an explosion in the distance, he's like, I gotta get to it. And so he, like, webs out of a couple of trees, and he's trying to get to the city, and then he just realized there's nothing to web onto. And so it's just, like, had that comedic pause, and then you just see him running across a golf course as fast as he can. That was, like, fucking perfect. Running through backyards, and just, like, it was just really cool. I love that aspect. I'm gonna say it, this is my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I think it is too. I mean, I really loved what Sam Raimi did with it. Okay, so I'm not taking that away. Because Spider-Man 2 was awesome.
Yes.
Okay. But this one was great, and it probably is one of my favorites. And that's the only reason why I particularly get really hard on Spider-Man, because I loved him so much as a kid. And it's like
he gets hard on Spider-Man.
Real quick, what did you think about Zendaya, MJ? Is she Mary Jane? She did say MJ.
She's Mary Jane. Why else would you call her MJ?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're gonna make a new Superman movie, but this Superman's gonna be a little bit more edgier, and we're just gonna call him Craig Kent. Craig Kent.
Try to catch that one.
Yep, he's gonna be Craig Kent. We like Craig better. Now we're all out of beer. And I think we're all done talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. So if there's anything that we missed that you want to bring up to us, leave us a comment. Don't forget to click like, subscribe. Until next time, my name is Kevin Lyons.
I'm Daniel de Sangre. We are Too High Mcfly.
We'll see you next time on Film Brew.